This is the next update on the installation of the bow thruster. The tube was put in place and fillets of epoxy were applied. First the tube was trimmed before any epoxy was applied. The tube was trimmed to about 3/4 of an inch from the leading edge of the hull or front part of the bow to the edge of the tube, and it was tapered as it came back, and finally it was trimmed flush with the back side of the hull. This is done to act as a water deflection. As the water runs back against the hull, it hits it and forces it away from the hull so it doesn't hit this back edge and cause a lot of drag. The first thing that was done was the tube was epoxied using fillets on the inside of the boat. A fillet was placed around the tube against the hull to make a nice fair for fiberglassing. So it was epoxied with, I used the spoon to get a nice radius on the inside of the hull, always around on the inside. And I couldn't quite get the bottom because I couldn't get under it. So what was done was a fiberglass, piece of fiberglass was cut and acted as a dam. It was glassed into place. From here down to the hull, it matched the shape of the hull on the inside. And what was done was a thickened epoxy resin was poured in, and the resin ran back, and I put a dam on the inside of the hull in the front side and poured in between, and the epoxy ran back underneath, filling this whole area up, and it's filled with epoxy on this lower section from here always around into about here, where I couldn't really put fillets and fiberglass because it couldn't access it. So it's solid fiberglass, solid epoxy in this section in here. Once that was done, then fiberglass chop mat was laid in place on the inside along that fillet, and that was laid with epoxy resin, and then quite a few layers of that. And then finally I went to biaxial, since I happened to have it, and then I finally went to 6-ounce woven roving to smooth it out. That's how the inside was done. The outside was kind of done the same way, except I used a fillet epoxy fillet here. You can see it's in white, and then I radiused that front edge to have a nice smooth transition. As the water goes around, it has a smooth transition. The inside was roughened, and then chop mat was laid in place. Strips of it were laid in place from the inside of the tube out, and it was wetted out with epoxy. And then finally, after that was done always around, I used woven roving. I think it was 3-inch woven roving, and I inserted it and went around. It hasn't been sanded yet. It will be sanded soon. Let me go to the other side, and you can see how it looks looking down the bow. You can see here's the other side. Windy day today. There's the other side of how it's done, and you can see the inside, the way the inside is done. So the next step will be sanding this off, smoothing it out, and then it'll be ready for the Interlux Interprotect. Let me come to this side, give you a view how it looks. Today we're going to use our crane to pick up a 4 kW generator, but it ended up being a little too windy. I have to loosen the cover up. Let me back up. I have to loosen the cover to remove part of the cover. Get a side view so you can see that I have to take the cover halfway off. And here's the crane. Crane is set up in place. So the upper view, we're going to lift the 4 kW generator, marine generator, and install it inside the engine room. But it ended up being too windy of a day today to attempt that. So we'll wait another day. So the next step will be the thruster as it's completed with the Interlux 2000 and the axle and thruster installed in the tube. And that should do it for this session. There's another shot of the bow.